What's up, Sleuth Army, and today we are here in Ripon and we are currently in one of the workhouses. We're currently doing a museum self-guided tour, but we will be coming back here later to do a nighttime ghostly experience, which will include a whole manner of things, including some of our equipment and things like that. But a workhouse has stood here from 1776, but the full site that we're in currently was actually finished in 1855, and in 1881 they ran a census just to gather information on who was here, and it turned out there were 105 inmates here and only 9 staff, which means there was around 10 inmates per member of staff, which would be insane to try and manage. Now, the conditions were foul, as you probably know. They were very grim, and often people would die here. If they worked here, they would die here, and that is the only way they would ever leave this and move on. There was a lot of old, widowed, but then children and just a general poor population would be forced to come to places like this to work, because it was the only means of semi-supporting themselves, although it would not have been a very luxurious life. So we're going to have a look around, see what we can find, and hopefully bring you some more information later. So guys, we've made our way to the hotel we're going to be staying at for the night. We've come over from the Ripon Workhouse Museum. As you can see, we are in the town centre now. It's a relatively small hotel constructed in the 1800s. It's got about 10 rooms in total, and there's a large Weatherspoons downstairs. But it is a very old building. It's grade 2 listed because of its age. And the most famous story in terms of ghostly apparitions is that of Tom Crud, who was born in 1692 and died in 1762. And he was the boots boy, so he would take off the guest boots when they came in, and he was known for his party trick, which was holding a coin between his very large nose and prominent chin. He was toothless from an early age, which helped him achieve this, but it is still said that you can see his apparition walking around the hotel lobby and staircases. And then we are overlooking Market Square, which has a lot of history within Ripon. He just moved the entire bed. As there would be a tradition dating back from the 800s where a wakeman was assigned and recommended to blow a horn to show that he was watching in case of Viking invasion of the town of Ripon. So the tradition was carried on, as the first mayor of Ripon heavily believed that something would befall Ripon if this tradition was not followed properly. So at each of the 4 corners of Market Square, the horn will be blown at 9 p.m. every night as a tradition to show that the wakeman is keeping a steady watch, and the wakeman's house can actually be seen nearby, and it is said that the ghost of the first mayor,
Hugh something.
on the tip of my tongue, but Hugh something, will put some subtitle in the video of the name, will disapprovingly look over if the horn is not blown correctly. So there is a real stipulation about this tradition that it has to be done in a specific way at the right time by the right person, otherwise a great tragedy will befall Ripon, which of course no one wants. The residents here would not be too pleased. So guys, we are just about an hour and a half away from when we're going to be heading back to the Ripon Workhouses to do the ghost experience, which I'm not really sure what to expect. We know a couple of things we are going to be doing, but I just thought we'd give a quick rundown of some of the things that have been said to have been heard or seen or experienced within the workhouses. So it starts with the usual kind of thing, you know, hearing footsteps, or people see shadows going through corridors or following people, you know, pretty standard stuff. But then it does go on to state that people have heard the disembodied cries of children once it's been locked up. So, you know, presumably the children that may have died in the workhouses are still lingering there. And then there's also stated to be the figure of an old man who resides by a penny farthing outside the front of the workhouse, which is now the entrance to the museum. So when we go there, we'll see what we experience. We'll definitely keep an eye and ear out for all these types of things, but we'll just have to see if any of it does come to fruition.
Okay. I am here, by the way. Hello. I've not been on camera at all this time. This is the face of someone who has just been on an epic
5-hour ghost hunt.
5-hour ghost hunt. I apologise for my wobbly camera work, but whatever. Sleuth, wrap it up for us. Tell us about what happened on this evening. We have got some footage. It is limited because it was only when we were doing solo vigils.
I do think we've actually got about 15 minutes in total though.
That we managed to run off and get some footage of nothingness.
Yeah, but there was a lot of people there, really, wasn't there? There was
initially there was a lot of people, yeah, and then we were split into smaller groups. Our group was a group of 7.
Yeah, so we started off with a couple of the I don't know what we call them, investigators we'll call them, I guess.
What, the guides or whatever?
The guides.
Yeah,
we'll call them guides,
was,
actually. They're not really investigators.
One of them was the medium.
Which one was that? Well, that's Stuart.
Stuart.
Oh, Jesus. But yeah, so we went in there and instantly we sat around this table with letters, numbers, yes, no. And I thought, oh God. So we sat there and they're like, right, rub your hands together and put it on the table.
I have a theory about why they do that. In fact, can I
Can we not put it somewhere?
prop it somewhere? Bear with, guys. We'll be right back.
Alright, so quick little point here. We're actually going to have to cover about 7 minutes worth of content that we've just covered because it just stopped recording. And not only did it stop recording, it just deleted the recording.
Oh, shall I get the EMF?
If you want to.
I can pop it behind us, can't I, like I did on you? And not near the thing.
But basically, the thing I want to cover first before we'll recap literally what we've just been telling is that there are 4 telephone boxes outside. The red British telephone boxes, you'll know what we mean.
If not, I'll put a picture up on them.
And it keeps ringing. It rang at 17 minutes past 2, 3 or 4 times, and then it rang again at 21 minutes past 2, 3 or 4 times. Which, if you're from the UK, you will know that is extremely strange. And even if you're not, you know who rings a public telephone, especially at this time.
Well, I can see them out the little gap now.
Why wouldn't you ring their phone or, you know, the service that you're requiring?
Plus any, what is it called? Like cold calls? Like, spam. Like,
yeah, it wouldn't ring spam. That kind of thing.
It wouldn't ring at this time. Because it's like 2 o'clock, nearly 3 o'clock in the morning.
And it wouldn't ring for that long. Some of them, it'd ring 10 times before it stopped. But anyway, where did we... Oh, we were sat around the table. And there's 7 of us.
So we started, yeah. There were 7 of us sat around the table. So that was 4 women and 1 man. One of the women was on their own.
Me and Chris were the only blokes.
Yeah.
Then we had obviously Pinky. We had Rachel, Clara, Kate and Lucy. And our first guides were Stuart and Mark. And we're going and we're sat round it's like a Ouija table, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm going to move this closer. I'm moving you closer, guys. We're moving.
It's like a Ouija table, and we start by just calling out to rubbing your hands together and then put them on the table very lightly so it can still wobble them. And they're trying to get it to flip the table and move the table and all that kind of thing, which obviously isn't happening. Nothing happened, did it? No tapping. They're going, replicate this. Did you hear it? No. Oh.
I feel like we need to point out first.
Before we started the official thing.
This set the tone.
You're going to hear a lot about this person.
This set the tone.
Because what grabbed me was the first time she didn't even announce it.
She was already doing it,
She just went, pulled out of her coat, a long chain down crystal over the Ouija table.
Like some form of amethyst.
It was purple, so. And she's holding it like this time. It's coming out of there and dangling down. She's going like this. And it's swinging about, and she's going, oh, we're in for a good one. So straight away we're going, oh God.
I always feel that if somebody's, now it's at a weird angle. I apologise. This is shoddy workmanship, but whatever. This is IRL. It's late.
We've had a busy day. But yeah, so
we've recorded this once already, so
that set the tone.
I feel like Hennes has maybe followed us.
Hennes has followed us.
Hennes, are you here? If that went up to red now, I would
Leave
poop myself.
I'd go hide in the telephone box. I'd ring for help. But yeah, so we're doing that, and then they get the Frank box, which is different to a spirit box. A spirit box constantly scans white noise and will regurgitate it in a robotic voice. It won't be the voice of whoever's trying to communicate. And like you said, it will often show on the screen the word that it's...
So you can understand.
Yeah, so it's
you
not...
know what it's meant to have said. Even
necessarily
if
too clear.
Not a word that's relevant. So if you went, what's my favourite colour, and it went book, at least you know that's what it said.
And no one cares to go, but it said blue. And you're like, no, it didn't. It said book, it says there. Which I think is why they didn't use them. But we start with the Frank box, and a Frank box scans radio frequencies constantly, skipping through the frequencies. So straight away, the skeptics among you watching will know what our issue with it is. But they're going, right, Chris, can you say Chris? And it's going around, you know, a bit of music going on, and it goes, it is, and they go, oh.
Chris.
That tried to say it, didn't it? I definitely had the is, and I thought, alright, and we're getting round and we're going, I can't wait for our names.
Yeah.
Because we have very uncommon names in the UK at least.
Yeah. And I could tell when he was like, what's your name again? And I went, Lynette. He was not a happy bunny. Because he knew that was going to be difficult.
Yeah, so he went, break it down into Lynn or Net, and I thought, straight away, you've lost it. So then they go, that said Lynn then, didn't it? And I was like, everyone's going, yeah, it did. And I'm thinking, did it? Anyway. describe her perfume in one word.
Well, I'm not wearing any.
And it
What
didn't.
I thought.
It didn't come up with anything, did it? Describe her in one word. Is she lovely? Didn't come up with anything. And we're going, all right. Comes on to me, all right. What's your name again? It was Jay, wasn't it? What planet are you on? No. Jensen. Oh, right. Can you say Jensen?
Can you say Jen?
Nothing happened. Oh, well, maybe that's a bit complex. Can you say Jen or Sun? All right, so not my name then. Oh, that said Sun. On what planet? Can you describe him? You can say it. You can call him something naughty. All right, and the reason they do that is because they like to try and disprove that they're just getting a word from a radio broadcast.
Yeah,
because they won't swear 90% of the time.
So, like, one of the examples that he played us on YouTube because we were getting nothing.
Yeah, he literally just started playing us old YouTube clips
was
instead.
Him calling out and saying like, "Oh, like, what? How would you describe me?" And TJ, mute now until I wave, and then you can come back. So he was like, "Oh, how would you describe me?" And apparently the spirit said, "Wanker."
It didn't. It said.
TJ, come back. It didn't.
I'm pretty sure it said wake up.
Wake up. Because it broke the word, so it was like, wake up. And he thought it said that word. And we were like...
Not happening. And then he played another and it was like, this time it says, I am spirit.
Which it said that quite clear. But we weren't there. So we don't know what equipment he was using or if somebody in the room said that. For us that. There was no...
And that was the worst audio quality of... There was no video.
There was no video.
Did that flash?
Yeah, that's good then.
That's fine. But yeah, so I
we
mean, that's how
that.
bad
It's
it got.
just weird, like, wording. Like...
But all the other equipment, the flashing ball light didn't go off. The little doll didn't go off. The car didn't go off. The rampod didn't go off.
With the... What was that thing that they kept going on? It's gone up to 0.9.
It was... Well, they were describing it like... It's an EMF equivalent and a temperature gauge, which it was freezing anyway. In fact, we'll get it out of the way now. Rachel in particular, but a couple of the others kept, particularly the guides, kept going, oh, I'm really cold, my legs are cold.
It's winter, it was snowing today. Water outside on the floor is
Ice,
frozen.
yeah. When we set off there...
It's an old building.
When we set off there, it was 1 degree. So, yeah, it's cold.
So that was the first session. And I'm going to do another video.
For the second.
Because
we have...
I don't want to risk losing this. So
and we have some footage for the second one.
Just didn't want to risk losing it. Because that would have made me cry. Because we've already recorded it once. And I think there's ghostly goings on there. Because we twice captured on video...
The ringing.
The creepy ringing. That had happened within 4 minutes of each other.
And we lose the video.
And we mysteriously lose
and now it hasn't rung again. But, I think it's probably Mycroft. But, so we're going to the second one and we go to a different guide in a different area. Emma.
This was Emma.
But she was alright. She was alright, to be fair. I mean, she didn't need to be there.
She was just work.
She didn't even sit with us. She sat somewhere else. And we're doing that, and she goes, and they go, oh, what? She goes, what do you want to do? What equipment do you want to use? And they go, oh, we want to do some glass work. Right, great.
The sleuth is so happy with himself about this.
But we do the normal calling out, move the table, doesn't happen. Oh, I've got a cold breath on me, says Rachel.
It's freezing.
And then Emma just went, oh yeah, there's a draft coming through that door. And she went, oh, right.
I did love that. I did love that.
The couple of times she got shut down.
Shout out to Emma because she was having none of it.
And then she gets a crystal out and she's going, send it towards the person you want to talk to.
And it was swinging between her and Chris.
Her and Chris, obviously. So then we're going,
if we're into conspiracy theories, both people
had been there before.
Had been to these
It never swung to someone that hadn't.
And knew the people there.
Oh, but adding to this a theory I didn't mention in the reshoot was when we were swapping groups, there was at least one person in every group that the guides knew very, very well.
plant.
And it was just weird that the one in our group that they knew really well was the one really pushing for it.
And you'll understand why.
And she ramped up towards the end.
Oh, she ramped up.
But, so we're in the second area. And it's not a crystal, she's wiggling it about.
Pasta.
The table's not flipping. They're not having it. Oh, you want to do some glasswork, didn't you? Yeah. The doll ain't doing anything. The lights aren't doing anything. The little car ain't doing anything. Oh, let's do some glasswork. Fake candle on the table, glass on top, everyone put a finger on, ask it questions. Show it where yes is, show it where no is, fair enough.
Go around.
And clockwise.
3 times.
So we go, we put it on. I'm sat next to Rachel and Pinky. I'm between them. And Rachel asked the first question. If you're here, can you move to yes, where we showed you where it was? Heartbeat goes by, nothing happens. And then all of a sudden the glass starts rotating on the spot. And people are looking going, that's rotating, that's weird, it's spinning. It's not moving, it's spinning. Yeah. Why was it spinning? You, the viewer, will give you 5 seconds to guess. Leave it in a comment.
Was it spinning? A, because a ghost was moving the glass. B, because of the draft from the door was somehow interjecting with the glass situation. Can you hear that? If we lose this video, in fact, as soon as that stops ringing, we're going to pause. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Our window's not open either.
How? I don't want to sleep with that. I'm just going to pause the video because I don't want to lose this one. Straight back though.
Or was it C?
Or was it C? Rachel was pushing the glass. Her sleuth was stopping her.
But yeah, so basically, as soon as she asked the first question, I thought, no,
spoiler. It's C.
And she asked the question, and then I see that she starts trying to slide it towards me, and I'm like, no, I'm not having this. So I just pressed my finger down quite hard, far more discreetly than she was doing. So obviously I was an anchor point for the glass, so it just started spinning around my finger instead. And I think she kind of thought, oh, I've been thwarted there. Because not long after that she went, can I do a solo vigil?
Yeah.
And got up and left.
It's like, I knew she was pushing it. I didn't know that Sleuth was like stopping her. But I knew she was pushing it because she was pushing and like her fingernail was going white from the when everybody else was just like lightly putting their finger on it. Like this, she was like, and I could see her exerting the pressure and I was like, lady, you're pushing it. I just couldn't tell that Sleuth was like, no, you would not come this way. So then we went and did the solo.
Yeah, which we've got footage of that'll be injected here.
Yes, when I edit this video, I will interject the footage here.
We're here in one of the cells doing a lone vigil.
I'm trying not to blind you.
Yeah, that's fair. So we've got a catwalk on the floor there. If it moves, it does light up very brightly. Well, you can see we've also got one of the ward gowns for a male inmate, as they were known. So we're just going to see that if there is anyone here present with us, then can they please roll the cat ball or wobble it slightly to make it light up, or indeed move the gown at all.
I am going to stop recording and then turn the light off and then come back.
Alright, we are now in the dark. You can see as much as we can see.
Is anybody here? Can you move the ball, please?
It's just in the doorway. Easy to get to.
Or touch one of us?
Appropriately.
Yes.
Not
what I may have suggested before. That was not a suggestion for you to take up.
Or if possible, could you replicate this noise?
Looks like someone else has got something going on. replicate this? That ball is going off because I just stomped. So that's what would happen if something
Yeah,
stomped.
she obviously moved the floorboards.
You're going to hear lots of other noise because there are other people.
Yeah, we've got other people doing rituals. So,
Can you make noise in this room?
we mean no disrespect by being here, we just want to communicate with you and know that you are here, you are present, and that you are still having an influence on this plane.
This was probably a horrible place to stay. And we're sorry that you were made to stay here.
So if you could just give us a sign that you're here, then we can leave if you wish, or provide company for a short while.
That's my stomach. Pasta.
Nothing's happening so far. If you could just muster your energy for us and just move the ball in the doorway to make it light up as it did before. Or if you want to tap on the window,
Tap on the window or on the walls.
we'll be able to hear that. Or even the
Like
door.
this. Move the door a little bit.
No, there's nothing going on here, guys. We've been ghost hunting for 2 hours so far. It's definitely been an interesting experience. What are your thoughts so far?
So far I haven't witnessed anything that's made me think anything.
No, that click when you said to me, "Is it my foot?" And I went, "Yeah, it was my foot." Not it was my, you know, when my ankle cracked.
Oh.
It was my bone moving. We did a Frank box, didn't we? Which I'm always obviously skeptical because it's radio stations. That wasn't ours.
It was not our
And when
wall.
they do for a single word, it could just be interference from them. That's a ramrod, a rampod even.
I think that's up there.
I think someone took it with them.
Oh, someone took it with. I was going to say.
So you could just give us a sign like this.
Oh God, that made me jump.
You don't have to.
Doesn't. Thank you.
Thank you for lighting up the ball.
That is.
Maybe it's setting after.
No, it didn't do it when I did it.
Yeah, but I stomped harder.
No, you didn't. I stomped really hard. And it didn't do it then. I'm assuming that torch is somebody that, yeah, that's fine.
We'll just test that again.
Oh shit, you made me jump.
If you could just do exactly what you did last time, you don't have to use any more energy than that.
So did we switched both switches on, is that what you said to do? And then the numbers will kind of flicker.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Interesting,
All right.
interesting. I like it. I like it a lot. We were stood very still. You could probably hear that from the video. There was no movement.
Moved. No one was.
I'm holding.
Thank you.
I'm holding the phone, and I've actually got my hand in my pocket, to keep the content of my underwear.
Can you do
still
that
on.
again, please?
One more time for us.
One
if
more
you could.
time. I know you've done it 3 already. One more time.
I know it must be very draining for you.
If you can do it one more time, please.
We're giving you all our energy that we can. Just one more time. Just to say that you are here with us still.
You've done so well. You've done it 3 times now. One more.
Just one more time. That's all we're asking. And then we'll leave you in peace to regain your energy.
I'm really cold.
I'm cold, but I've been cold the whole time. So I put my hand in my pocket. Just one more time.
One more
I'm
time.
moving
We're
my
not
feet
moving. Oh, yeah.
I'm stood
not
still
moving at
again.
all.
I'm stood still again.
If you can copy what we did when we stomped, it'll make that ball light up again.
I can give you one more demonstration.
That's us. Don't panic, people. One more time.
If you could just give it one more time. Just exactly like that.
Well, you've done it before.
We're standing completely still so that you can take all our energy. Just to create that light effect again for us.
Sleazeballs.
Great balls of light.
Thank you for doing it 4. Can you do it again? One more.
Just one more, and then we'll leave you in peace.
We're being greedy, I'm very sorry.
We're just
One more time.
trying to help you. If you can show us this, then other people will visit.
You've had enough.
So we
Welcome
hope you
back.
enjoyed that footage.
Did you love it? I bet you loved it.
We should have probably stopped and started there. That would have been easier. But well, we haven't. We'll just splice it. So Pinky will splice it. So that was a bit weird. But like we said, we're not too familiar with it.
We're not familiar with it. It was quite weird. The thing is, we are skeptical. We are not closed-minded.
Yeah, it
So
was
we
weird.
We
but
were
I
like,
think
okay, yeah, that is weird.
I'd have to get my hands on the equipment
We'd
to
have to
fully
get a hand
test
on
it.
the equipment. I'd have to have a lot more time in that room figuring out if it was somebody further down, that the vibrations could have been causing something. So we will put that in like a question mark. We don't know. We can't prove either way that it was definitely a ghostly phenomenon, but also we can't prove that it wasn't. So.
And then it was on to the next vigil. Or a break. I can't remember. Oh, it was a break. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, then it was the break. With much confusion about how to use a coffee machine.
Everyone kept doing it without a cup.
To put a cup underneath.
Odd. But yeah, then it was on to the next.
On to the next.
So this vigil was conducted in the Masters and Matron's living room, wasn't it? Was that one?
Yes. Now I will say, we've got footage of this as well, because me and Sleuth just like...
As soon as they went, we've got more than this room, we dipped.
We just got up and went, right, well, we're going to go over there. Took advantage of the flashing light to go, oh, there's a reason for us to go and investigate over there. So we're actually in, where are we? The dining room.
We're in the master and matron's dining room.
And we've got a cat ball here again.
I reckon we'll move it central.
If we move it, then we're going to freak out.
So you can't see it on the video, but it is at the opposite end of the room.
There's a seance going in the other room.
Yep, so we're just trying to connect with whatever's in here, because actually we were...
See if you can see it.
Yeah, it's over there.
So there, yeah, you can just about see it.
So we were actually in the other room originally, but then we quickly noticed that when the room was evacuated, was left here with just the cat ball in it, then it actually went off pretty quickly. So we're going to just see if we can get anything going on.
Okay, there's someone walking by, so if anything happens now. If there's anyone in here, could you make that little ball on the floor light up, please? You can just stomp near it or touch it.
You just show us that you are in here with us. Or there are several objects around the room. If you
Cold. It's got
move
cold.
on. Or if you could just replicate this noise.
I think Dave's in the other room.
I'm going to show you what you can do to set off the cat ball now, if you would be able to replicate this.
That didn't even set it off.
Wow.
Just touch it. Just touch it a little.
That's all you have to do to set it off, to show us that you're here. That's the object we're asking you to touch. Can you play with the cat's
Can you
balls?
play with the cat ball? Or can you
Twitch the curtains,
move
anything in this
something
room.
in this room? Just make a
These
little
objects do
noise.
move. If we're right that you are in here with us, if you're the master or the matron, or perhaps one of the
I imagine it was quite a difficult job.
inmates that cooked for them, perhaps. There's several things around the room that you could interact with, just to give us a sign and let us know that you're here. Honestly, I haven't felt the temperature drop.
Can you try and knock?
We're giving you all our energy here to try and communicate with us. We mean no disrespect. So apparently they've got at least 4 spirits in that other room doing the seance, and not one of them can touch the doll.
No doll touching here.
If we move to the front end of the room, see if we get
We are moving, so if the ball thing goes off now, it could be us moving.
Right, we are now stood nearer the ball, so we can clearly see if you interact
Put
with
the
the
light
ball.
on for a second.
We're stood here.
It's there.
Yep, it's that little object there. So, we'd love to connect with you.
Can you move something?
Or make any kind of noise. It can be a word, a breath, or just an interaction with an object.
If we say our names, can you say one of our names? Repeat it.
Well, that's copyrights, right?
No.
Do you wanna-
It's 10 seconds or something.
Do you want to mooch to the pantry?
Okay. Where's the pantry?
Up here. Yes, if we could go to it, but
No. Is it no?
yes, through there. There's a doll on the stairs. If you could interact
There
with
is
the
a doll
doll.
on the stairs.
My name's Sue. Did you say Sue?
There's a doll on the
Creepy
stairs.
doll.
Sounds like it. I need to take pictures.
That's all right. That's usually me.
So if you touch the doll at all, spirit, then we will know that you are here. Its eyes will light up. Perhaps there's a little girl
Did you say Sue?
that you've seen in the child's ward that would love that doll, and you want to interact with it to take it to
What
the
about Chris? You said Chris? It's gone off it.
I thought we had pantry. Where's the pantry? Can we go? Can we go for that? Yeah.
You might have to ask. Did it say no?
I thought it said Chris.
I thought it said no.
And you say
I have to listen back to it.
I thought it said no, but it might have said Chris.
If that bangs now, are you going to scare the hell out of everybody?
Do you call me an bed?
She can take it.
Okay.
And you say
What?
Carla.
Looks creepy as hell because of that.
Yeah, that is creepy.
There's a mannequin in there, but
There is a mannequin in here. I apologise for the really rubbish video.
if there's any...
Oh?
What happened then? Did her scarf move?
No.
Or an orb?
Oh.
Is it an orb? There's a rat on that pie. If there's any spirits in here that could interact with any of the objects lining the walls or with the woman. There's an ornate gas lamp.
Okay. Oh.
Any spirits in here want to interact with any of the objects, or if you could replicate that for me.
Now, although we may be seeing orbs on here, we are very sceptical of orbs because
It's
a lot
just
of the
dust.
time it is
Yeah, a bit of
dust. Or an insect. Obviously, it's not an insect because I can't see any insects in here, but
Could be moths in the curtain. Right, we'll get nothing in here.
if there's anybody here, can you make a noise or move something?
I'll touch one of us appropriately.
Or him inappropriately?
Alright.
Move the light, maybe?
If you could swing the light. Oh, were you moving the torch? I thought you moved them, but it was shadow. Okay. I'm like, was it with the crystal? I reckon we're checking out the doll again, do you reckon?
Could do. Turn the light off so that it's not distressing anybody.
It's definitely colder in here, but I think it's just in the room.
It is colder in here.
There is a doll on the stairs, if you could interact with the doll to let us know you're here.
Do you not like presents?
That's tuned into a radio station. I mean, you can't tell me that's not a radio station. What's the chair?
I don't know.
If you could interact with the chair, maybe slide it forwards or backwards.
Have you ever celebrated Christmas? Times must have been tough if you were in the
No.
workhouse. Maybe you didn't have Christmas.
Sorry. If you could interact with the light up ball, if you're still in this room, you may have migrated to one of the others. You may even be in the living room, involved in the scenes.
If you're in the living room, can you say sleuth through that box? I don't know why if that says sleuth. I'm yeeting myself out the window.
There. What if you saw a face in the painting? Just so the eyes light up.
What eyes? I can't even see eyes on that. I can't make out that much detail. If you're talking through the box in the other room, can you say sleuth?
Well, that one is.
When it started going shit, I was like,
What if it played Jungle Love? Can you imagine?
well, now you've had the opportunity taken away.
Yeah, so we'll
you-
probably
Are we rejoining?
we'll rejoin them. So we'll try and get another solo, duo vigil in the next
Yep.
one.
But I will say, when you were not at the table, this was the most EMF activity that I did see in the entire night. However, it never went above yellow. Now, anybody who's watched our previous video, and if you haven't,
What are you doing?
what are you doing with your life? Let's just take a moment to go
Pause this one
stop
and go and watch
now.
it.
Go watch that one. Loads of EMF stuff. It crashed our stream.
Which, if you don't follow, by the way,
yeah, which
twitch.tv/inspector_sleuth.
You won't see any spooky stuff there, really, yet. But it
Good
crashed
teaser.
our stream. We were getting this up to 5
Consistently,
It was going crazy.
in response to questions.
We've got like footage of that. It was responding to questions. Nah, it was going. It went up to yellow once, and the rest of the time it was just on the second green.
Now,
light.
as you'll see in the footage that we have from this vigil, as you've seen from the footage that we had in this vigil, that was weird. It went dark then.
Did it?
Yeah.
What when I looked away?
All right.
Unhealthy cat.
Nothing happened for us.
No. When we were in the pantry area, we do even comment about this, there were some ghost arts. We think they were dust. It's an old building.
But
It's
yeah,
always dust. But nothing happened. We called out. We went back to the table then because
I got some audio enhancers.
He's in love with the audio enhancers.
And it's disconcerting at first because you can control the volume, and it is mental when I was putting it on the highest thing. And I was like, I can hear this, I can hear that. And then I quickly realised just how sensitive they were. So when I was like, oh, I can hear as if someone went to speak or as if someone like smacked their lips together, it will have just been someone in the room. Because I could literally hear every movement. When someone moved slightly and their coat rustled, it was like someone was rubbing sandpaper next to my ears. It was insane. And I went into a different room when you were getting the EMF readings to try and get them to interact with the light up ball. But I could still perfectly hear their conversations and them moving and stuff.
So in that room, we were interacting with a ghost that, according to the lights on the EMF, not our EMF, should say.
Or Rachel were randomly throwing out names.
Was a little boy called Arthur, and he was wanting to play whatever.
Or he wasn't wanting to play apparently because we kept asking him to do all these toys and he
so
wouldn't.
we were sat in the other room going, oh, go and like scare him in the other room and go and do this. So then Rachel was like, oh, I just saw him run across the...
I saw a flash. He presented himself to me, a shadow across the hall.
That shadow was actually Sleuth moving in the other room.
I was walking about in the other room, and obviously then I cast a shadow because I was walking in front of one of the windows that had light coming through from the outside lights and the moonlight, and it cast a shadow, and she was like, I've just seen Arthur. I was like, funny that. Is it the height of me? Because it was me. So that was that. So she's already trying to ramp it up, and she mentioned that 4 or 5 times, didn't she, in the next vigil?
Oh, she was like mentioning it all the time. She's like, I've seen him.
Oh, you haven't had much activity? Oh, I saw a person. I saw a flash.
And it's like, no, you didn't.
And then it was on to the final vigil.
Yeah. The final vigil.
First off, we got robbed. It was 45 minutes, meant to be an hour.
Yeah.
Thank God it was 45 minutes, though, because nothing happened. We sat round a big table.
Massive table. Oh, it's in pictures.
Yeah.
It's in pictures. I am going to put a picture, if I remember.
It was sat round that, and it was...
Here, to show you which room we did the picture on.
And it was lit. It was near pitch black, wasn't it?
It was very, very
Because they turned out all the lights and all curtains were shut.
There was just the fireplace. And
Which, it was not a real fire. It was
kind of light coming from
the curtains.
around the side of the curtains.
But... Which were going, oh, can you knock on table? Oh, that were a knock over that side of the room. And I'm going, that was not that side of the room. We were hearing them from all over the place. Which Rachel's going, he's wandering around us. I can feel him.
Yeah, she randomly then was like, oh, I can see...
Yeah, I'm seeing a gentleman wandering around with his hands clasped behind his back, and I thought you're literally just describing the film adaptation of someone posh.
Yeah.
In a meeting room.
A governor of some kind, because it was the governor's room.
So, but everyone was hearing noises from different directions, which again screams to me that it was just the house settling after people had been in it.
Like, I think people... If you
we're sat in a pitch black room in the quiet, just no one's doing anything, we're barely talking.
If you don't live or have never lived in an old building, and when I say old building, I don't mean built in the 80s, I mean old. So like the Hare and Hounds old, where it's been there hundreds and hundreds of years.
It's probably listed.
We know from living in a house like that, when you're not used to it, the house settles. There are noises in the house.
From people moving around during the day to then the house resting, especially in houses that are built like that with a lot of wood and things, the heat from during the day and things, obviously it can expand the wood and then it contracts at night, so the house settles.
It's freezing outside, so it's like, if you haven't lived, I understand it to a certain degree, because if you haven't lived in an old house,
you're like, a house shouldn't just make a noise.
You're maybe not used to it. Me and Sleuth have lived in a very old building, so we're kind of used to those noises of just, oh, there's a click over there, okay, it's probably the house settling. And you do pick up then if something is more than that, if something is dramatically more.
Which is why when particularly Chris kept going, can you replicate this, and did a single knock. I thought, well, you're going to get that.
Yeah. It's like it needs to be a pattern.
But it was never a
why-
knock.
It was always like
It was always a slight creak, or
Yeah.
someone putting their hand on the table, or their knee hitting it, like
Yeah.
when they went, oh, there was a double from over there, and I went, I need the table. And someone went, oh yeah, I put my hands down. And it's like, well, that's some sort of weird band. But yeah, and then Rachel started going, I see a shadowy figure in the corner over there. One of the guys went, well, there's no alive figure there.
we looked.
And we both looked and we went,
Well, there is a shadow. In
yeah,
all
I went, there
fairness,
is a
was
shadow in us. It's a lamp,
Yeah, it was
but there is a
lamp.
shadow in
It
us.
was quite clearly a lamp, and I have bad eyesight.
Yeah, and I was
like,
going, that's a weird shaped person if that's a person you're seeing. But yeah. And then they're going, oh, we ain't got much time left. We've got 5 minutes or whatever. So if you're going to
Yeah,
make something
this is where
happen,
it kicked
get
off.
us to leave. And literally like that.
It was like,
After saying
you
that.
know what it was like? It was like it was a cue. It was like she is a plant.
Not
No, as
an
in
oxygen giver.
like a mole, like a plant. She waited for that cue. And when she gets that cue, when they'll go, oh, it's 5 minutes, then
Yeah,
somebody
in the
winds her
final
up and off
session.
she goes.
And she literally went, oh! And I
Well,
mean, to
like,
be fair, no one cared.
really cared except for the woman sat next to me.
And she
like,
went, the
the
guide.
guide.
And she
She
went,
was
oh,
like,
what?
"Oh,
And she
what's
went, oh, I
wrong?"
feel like I've just been hit in the side of the head. And the guy just went, well, I didn't hit you. And just went to carry on. And she went, oh, something's draining my energy. And then she went, you know that feeling when you're halfway between sleep. And I thought she was going to say consciousness. No, you're halfway between sleep and being passed out. What kind of reference is that?
I don't know what that was.
But yeah, so
Because being asleep is...
it's being passed out
So
essentially.
yeah, now again, the guide was giving nothing here. And the guide literally just went, well, if somebody's sapping her energy, can you at least use it and do
Yeah,
something?
turn a light on or something.
But it was like dramatic. Like she was like, oh, like really, like.
And then she went back to normal.
and then,
and
she
then
was,
they went, right,
because
we've
we all
really-
ignored her. We literally. all
We've really
ignored
got to leave now. And then she just, I was watching her and
her. I
watching
wasn't watching her.
watching one at curtains.
The reason I wasn't is because she'd been acting like that, and I was like, I can't, because I'm gonna laugh in her face. Let me record. Okay, we've had to switch phones.
Yeah, because mine's full of video again. I mean, to be fair, we have recorded like 20 minutes worth in total.
We need to get a video camera.
But yeah, so
So
it's
set the scene. We are final vigil, last minute, literally down to the last minute. The guide has been like, this is it, we have to leave.
the other guy. I think she was falling asleep or something.
I don't know what she was doing.
She was creaking a chair constantly.
Yeah, she was. I thought she was trying to make noise and stuff. And then all of a sudden, so Rachel's already been a bit iffy.
She's been smacked inside her head, and
She's been
she's
smacked
somewhere
inside her
between
head.
falling asleep and passing
She's
out.
half asleep. She then recovered miraculously and was fine for a couple of minutes. And then all of a sudden, I didn't notice this because I was too busy not trying anything not to look at her. But Sleuth did notice it.
I'm watching the curtain because a light kept like coming on and going off. It was motion censored outside, which again at one point she did try and go, oh, I've just seen a light going on over there.
She kept trying to say that he was manipulating the light.
I was like, it's a motion light outside.
It was a motion light, and because it was super windy,
It was
like the
blowing the
trees and
trees and
stuff
that
were
was
moving.
picking up. But yeah, so I'm watching the curtain and I'm kind of keeping an eye on her, thinking, oh, she's going to do something in a minute. I was not disappointed. All of a sudden, she just leans like halfway across the table and just goes, oh, Jesus. And I just went, what?
thing
And I'm
is,
staring at her. No one else
nobody
clocked
paid
it.
attention because by this point, I think we'd all realised
We knew we were leaving and
she
we were
was
tired of her.
drama. She was drama. She was trying to.
If you're watching this video, you're drama.
you were drama.
You're trying too hard, love.
You were trying to make something of nothing. There was nothing going on.
Yeah, we weren't.
She's there alone. She then, oh my God, you were gone. I think you were gone when she started telling us about Tom. Were you there?
Was that the one that pretended he won? No, that was Pete, wasn't it?
No. In
Where
the
is Tom?
previous vigil to the last one,
But-
she was where Arthur.
But yeah, we'll
Was
round
running
up that one.
nothing happened.
Nothing
No
happened.
one cared.
Nothing.
And then
happened.
she was recovered again as soon as we had to leave.
Yeah, she was like opening the door for me and everything. I'm like, well, you've got your
And then
energy
following
back,
us.
and then followed us home. Well, not home, but back to
The hotel. But anyway, Tom.
So in the previous one, she's like talking about Arthur, this little boy, and she's like, "Do you know Tom?"
Oh, yes, I
And
was.
I'm like,
That's her kid.
and I'm no.
She said, I've got a little boy at home.
Yeah,
Oh, was it Ghost?
she meant a go.
Oh.
She's like, "Oh, I've got a little boy at home who talks to me and blah blah blah," and I'm like, "What the chuff?" She was on about a ghost.
I thought
She's
she
got a
had
ghost
son.
at home. No, she ain't got a son.
Because she goes to Ghost Hunt alone.
And I was just like, first off, even if I put my skepticism to one side and I believe in ghosts, why in the name of all that is holy?
She'd already said, didn't she, that she'd done a similar
Arthur-
drive about an hour, I think she said.
Yeah, would Arthur, this little boy ghost...
Why did she follow us? She drove.
I mean, apologies. Why would Arthur, the little boy ghost in the workhouse at Ripon...
From the 1800s. No, Tom?
Tom, who lives in her house, which is an hour away.
I mean,
What,
I
some
thought
sort
it were
of
a
ghost
I
book?
thought it were weird when she brought up a
Like
son.
Facebook ghost
Maybe
book?
it's Tom ringing
Maybe.
for Arthur.
But I was like, no.
But to be fair, she was going, oh, is this Pete? At first, wasn't she? Because she were having little bits of EMF. Not like when I've gone into the other room, but they were having little bits going, oh, Pete's here. When we were in the other room.
Oh, and then she was like, I've got a feeling I know who you are. You're not Pete, are you? And it lit up a little bit and she's like, I knew you weren't Pete. Are you, what did she say? Are you, what was it? Are you Arthur or Martha? And I was like...
She went, this isn't conventional, it's not the way you say it, but are you Arthur or Martha? And I think she was trying to say, do you cross-dress?
And it didn't. And then she was like,
But,
do you like the men or the women? Do you like the men?
light
And
up
I'm
if you like the men, like, that were Chris,
so
wasn't
we're
it?
asking if it's...
Bisexual or
if it's
homosexual
gay.
or a cross-dresser in the 1800s. Are you mental?
In a workhouse.
When all they had was their uniform and their nightshirt. Are you mental? Yeah, actually, she was. But yeah, so that was all sorts of something. But then I've actually just thought, in the last vigil, they wanted to do the glasswork again, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they went, we're not going to fit these chairs around that table. So that was...
And then she was like, yeah, but then the guy was like, oh, but a calling out vigil. And I'm like,
As the final one's the best, and it's like, but no, what's happening?
Literally nothing happened. The only...
We could have recorded that entire final vigil, and all we'd have used is the "Oh Jesus" and the smack to the head.
Just for humour.
Because there was nothing of note. Other than your stomach
Well,
constantly.
my stomach constantly, because I had loads of pasta and that, and now I'm trying to digest it. My stomach's just like, no. So my stomach the whole time kept making like noise, and I was like, guys, they all go, and I'm like, is my stomach mumbling? It's got pasta in it.
Or when my ankle cracked, like my foot cracked, and it wasn't even worth me. By the time they'd all finished going, oh, that was really strange, that was mental, thank you for communicating with us. It wasn't even worth me saying it with my foot, because they weren't listening when I went. I didn't kick the table, but I did move my foot.
Well, at one point, I think it was the first vigil, or was it the second? I had my hands like this on the table, and like my thumb slipped off and touched the table, and they all started being like, oh, thank you for touching the table, because obviously like a little tiny vibration, and I was like, I don't even have the energy to be like, I touched, like...
But yeah, they get you to rub your hands. And
Yeah, they get you to rub your hands
so that
your
you've
hands
got...
are like tingling
Yeah.
a little bit. So that then when you put your hand on the table, you're like, oh, I can feel energy. No, you've just created loads of friction. You've been rubbing your hands together and then you're touching something. It was, yeah. But the hot chocolate was quite nice.
Was it?
Yeah.
At least you used a cup.
Yeah.
That wasn't... I don't know what that was.
So we've got that. So, yeah. We're currently in the hotel. If there are any ghosts in this particular hotel, it is Tom Crud, Old Boots. who is nice.
Yeah.
So, if he is here, then that is wonderful. Up, Tom. And he's not posh, so we wouldn't need to call him sir or anything.
No, he's just the boot boy.
He's the boot
Or
boy,
he was.
a friendly boot boy. Which,
With a
fair.
party trick, so, you know, we've covered that. So that's...
So, all in all, I think I would say I would not recommend...
That's a wrap on day one.
I would not recommend. If you really... Because then, like, when I was stood by the coffee machine, and one of the other groups came over, which I now realise was the woman that was the mother
Of one of the guides.
She came over and she was talking to Carla, and she was like, "Oh, have you had much?" And Carla was like, "Oh, not really, no." And she was like, "Oh, we've had the table rocking about, and we've had things being like yelled and blah blah blah, and like on the speaker box thing, and it said this and it said that and blah blah." At the time, I was like, "Oh, right, okay, that's a bit weird." It becomes less weird now that I realise that she is the mother of the guide.
Who's got summit with one of the other guides. There was summit with her and Mark, I reckon.
So
But
that kind of...
also it's convenient, isn't it? Oh, did we leave it? I don't know if we spoke about the box again in the YouTube video. I can't remember if we did that in the reshoot, but whatever. But yeah, it was convenient how they wanted to hear a particular swear word.
Yeah.
Because
Because they kept referencing
4 letters and begins with a C.
The C bomb.
And
they
it just
really
happened
wanted
to
him.
say it a couple of times.
I don't know that it did.
No, I didn't hear it once.
I didn't know that it
And
did.
it said just... But again,
Again,
it's a word can't.
Can't, yeah. It ends NT. Anything that ends NT, they would have picked up. Anything that starts with a C, they were picking up and going, "Oh, that was..."
And it's very often that you'll probably hear can't on a radio station.
Yeah.
And we can't play that one because we haven't got enough time left, but you'll enjoy the next show. But, you know, it was worth doing.
I wouldn't recommend it, and certainly not for 40 quid a pop.
We've done it for you.
We've done it so you don't have to. However, did have an idea for next Halloween.
We did. We're going to put some more research into that, and then we'll bring it to you.
Possibly we can come up with something that is going to be exciting. A lot more exciting than that.
Hell yeah.
Because I tell you what, there won't be there.
Rachel.
A woman called Rachel.
Well, she might. If we advertise it for 40 quid a head, she'll be right on.
I'd say no.
No, I wouldn't. I'd charge you double.
Are you going to bring Crystal? Because if you
are, it's 50 quid.
You're not welcome.
No, we make the money. Anyway, so we hope you've enjoyed these roundups of the vigils. Because obviously it was limited what we could film. Fountains Abbey.
Oh, we've got
a police
museum
and a court museum.
A court museum. Probably won't film much of the court one. Police one, we may do a little bit of filming depending on the weather. If not, then we will
figure something out.
We'll judge it in the morning. Possibly just do
over breakfast. Probably we'll judge it.
Recording, and then off to Fountains Abbey again. I don't know how much actual talkie footage we will have. It is currently extremely windy, bit snowy.
We tried a bit outside and we had to reshoot inside because it was you couldn't hear.
So we may record some stuff in the car, and then
we'll see how we feel.
I'll just do panning shots
because we've got a good amount of footage from these roundups as well. So we'll see. But we hope you guys enjoyed the final video. And it's been a pleasure going through these experiences for you, I guess. You've got to meet the characters, haven't you?
Oh, Jesus. Is it the end of the video?
It is.
Oh,
no, we've got about a minute left, I reckon.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, well, we're going to have to end it because... Are you going to pass out?
I'm halfway between going to sleep.
I'm halfway to going to sleep.
I'm
That's
passing out.
because it's 3 o'clock.
You should probably stop the video.
But we'll see you guys
Oh Jesus, I've been punched in the
for
head.
tomorrow's, but obviously you'll see it in the final video. So here we are on one of our last stops in Ripon. We are outside the old deanery. We've got the cathedral there, which is quite a huge building, and this deanery stands on the site of a former monastery of St Wilfrid. So it dates all the way back to 1625, so it is actually one of the oldest places that we've seen while we've been out in this village. And during the 19th century there was some refurbishment going on, and 3 skeletons were discovered during these refurbishments, which obviously will have been a bit of a shock. And it said that one of those skeletons still haunts this deanery today, and it said that the former caretaker still lingers and will tap people on the shoulder, which, as Pinky rightly stated, that would be terrifying. But apparently it was not an aggressive gesture, it was to give blessings, which I suppose is nicer than some other things. But then later refurbishments, a further 11 skeletons were found in a mass grave, and they were children's skeletons. They were believed the age to be no more than 15 of the oldest one, and it was believed that they died of the plague, although having been buried 400 years prior, it's tricky to say exactly what did kill them. However, it is now a boutique hotel, which will not remain for much longer. The building itself will, and its purpose will remain. However, due to the pandemic, the business unfortunately declined, so they will be closing their doors for good. But definitely an impressive building, and a good sight to see while we're here, and a nice opposite view for the cathedral. So we have moved outside of Ripon a little bit, just as the snow's coming in, and the storm is well and truly on its way, by the looks of it. But we have ended up at Fountains Abbey after a very confusing drive. So we thought we'll do the information here, just in case it's a bit windy or whatever, so that we can give you the rundown of what we're going to be exploring, and then we'll put in some shots of the abbey as we head around it. So Fountains Abbey itself was founded in 1133 and was operated for 407 years, which now takes over the old deanery as the oldest set of buildings that we've visited. We're not sure how much is going to be intact, but hopefully there's some good sights to see. And it stopped being used when Henry VIII disillusioned the use of monasteries in the 1500s. So it was definitely in operation for a long time, and it will have seen a lot of usage over those 400 years. So, as with any old building, there are the rumours of various ghosts. There's never just one bloke wandering about on his own. So the first is William Thirsk. Now, William became the abbot of the abbey in 1526. Now, bearing in mind that will have been very, very close to when the dissolution of the monasteries took place. Cromwell investigated Thirsk, and to his shock found that Thirsk was guilty of theft and sacrilege, which isn't great for someone that's head of a monastery. He was stealing and selling the valuables of the abbey and wasting the wood and cattle, etc., of the estates. It is also said that he kept, and pardon my French, 6 whores, which...
That is quoted, that is
in quote marks in our notes.
We're not just being savage.
Which, obviously, you know, anyone who understands the role of a religious figure is going to be going, okay, there was definitely some dodgy dealings going on here. And I mean, what a time to do it just before they got investigated. But I suppose, you know, that's the way things go. So in 1537, Thirsk was embroiled in a plot against the king himself, which is never a good idea. So he was tried and found guilty of treason, and he was actually executed in June of that same year. So he is said to still haunt the abbey and, you know, seen apparitions of him and heard footsteps and all that. I don't know how you'd know they were his footsteps. Maybe he was a particularly heavy bloke. Either that or there were 7 steps. And he thought, right, well, that's him and his 6 following. But there's also the Chapel of the 9 Altars. And apparently it's often the place where a ghostly choir of monks are seen by people or heard singing and chanting, which would be terrifying. Just a bit of chanting going on. Their voices echoing around the walls and as the sun goes down. So that will probably be the explanation if we don't hear that, because the sun's not going down. So, you know, you can't argue with that.
Yeah, fact.
It's just, yeah. So the nearby Fountains Hall, made from the stone taken from the abbey, is said to be haunted by a blue lady, the daughter of the founder of the hall, Sir Stephen Proctor. I don't know why she's blue, but, you know, maybe that's the ghostly colour.
Well, I was like, is she blue as in she's sad?
Oh.
Blue.
Yeah.
Oh, is she blue as in coloured? Maybe she
Well,
froze
hopefully
to
we
death,
find out.
which
Hopefully
is
we'll find
entirely
out.
possible.
When we get out there.
Storm Arwen.
So there's also a shining gold lady. So there's, you know, you're getting all the colours of the rainbow. And she's dressed in 18th century attire. They never update, do they? They never recent attire or anything.
No, they never go.
And they don't date back to sort of like
in 2000 and he's
like cavemen or anything, is it? It's never, you know, wearing leopard skin pants and that. But she was she appears to the children who stay at the hall if they're ill. So again, I'm not feeling that ill, so, you know, and we're probably too old for her care, so that's probably why we won't see her. And finally, other people have reported the ghost of a dog wandering the halls. Could be a stray, I suppose, but that one I would like to see, a little ghost dog. Be like Nightmare Before Christmas. No, you do not, to be fair.
You get that as often. When people are like, oh, it's an animal that's...
But apparently an archaeologist that was working on the site during some of its, you know, restoration and things, reported seeing a heavy door unlatch and open itself in front of his very eyes.
It did further say on that note that I didn't write down, but I just
Remembered
it
it
in my
then.
brain, that he did not feel scared at any point and just carried on with his work. So it was not a scary
Heavy door unlatched.
ghost.
Fair enough. Maybe it was the dog. Speaking of, that might be it. Look, ghost dog over there.
There are lots of dogs here, so if we do hear barking or anything like that,
I'm not surprised.
Don't be concerned.
So we'll see what we see. Hopefully we'll get something on the panning shots and the establishing shots. But there's the rundown of all the reports. So as ever, we're bringing you the expectations, but we'll go in with an open mind and see what happens. It's probably just going to be cold and wet.